Well,
Hello.
Here we are. All right.
We did it.
Welcome, everyone. I'm going to adjust the light just a little.
And I am currently tweeting, so I will be right back in the screen very, very soon. Oh, look, I go very red. Red Megan? Not red Megan.
Not Red Megan. So
Sorry.
we are Digital Hammurabi. Dr. Josh, this is Megan. I don't know if you can tell, but we are in a different room.
They can't tell.
They can't tell.
Well, I mean, ideally speaking, because we have the Ishtar Gate behind us. But if the Ishtar Gate was not there, you would not see our bed. Oh, Josh, you going to do magic?
No.
No, he's not, because what is behind the screen is very untidy.
I've got it doesn't matter. We're Digital Hammurabi, and hopefully this will all work out. So we have moved our little studio room over here to our study /
Library
/
what has been a bedroom for two different children, but
So
we
there you
moved
go.
the children.
Yep, we keep shifting. Our color keeps shifting. I don't know what to do about that. Oh, maybe there's too
We
much.
should just paint ourselves blue.
Yeah. Like Tobias.
Yeah, we've been watching Arrested Development again.
Maybe if I just turn one of the lights. So, is that?
Who knows? Let's just go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we have been doing the HAPS scholarship thingamawhat's-it. I don't know why I can't think of the name. The HAPS scholarship. Interviews. Yes, that's the word I was searching for. For, I don't know, a month, maybe? And
Over a month. I think we started... oh no, maybe just a month. We started the first weekend of March, I think.
so we finished those up with a
Yay.
little bit of technical difficulty that Megan
We fixed it together.
was able to fix.
But it was awesome. We had a great time. We met lots of awesome people.
Yeah, fantastic candidates. And so now we are ready to announce the winners of the scholarship. I feel like we're just sort of piecing this all together as we go, which is not exactly what I had in mind. But oh well. So we had voting last week, and the voting closed at 9 o'clock this morning, and we tallied it all up, and so we are here ready to announce the winners.
It's very exciting. They already know. I emailed all of the applicants this morning. But we now get to tell you, and it's really, really cool. We had
So before we do, let's just review what, for those that might be watching for the first time, I don't know, what the scholarship is maybe, and what each winner is going to receive, and how it's going to work. You want me to do it? You want me to do it?
Mm,
I think I just said, do you want me to do it, or do you want me to do it?
I think I want you to do it.
Okay. So the HAPS scholarship is Humans Against Poor Scholarship. So maybe we should call it the HAPS Fund. But at any rate, basically when we started here, we decided that we see so many, I don't know, we just see a lot of bad scholarship. A lot of people saying a lot of incorrect things, using a lot of incorrect methodologies is the word that I was searching for. And so one of the things that we noticed very, very quickly is that, when you go to a university, you learn how to do all these, you learn how to research correctly, and you learn proper hermeneutics, and yet oftentimes the people that go to those elite high-level universities, they're so caught up in their day-to-day research and teaching responsibilities that, coming on and doing a YouTube channel, it's not exactly within reach for them. And so you end up seeing people, the people that are on YouTube often are people that are, that maybe they've read a book, maybe they've read an article on Google, and they've taken that idea that they found there and they're just running with it, right? And so a lot of poor scholarship gets passed on in that way. And so what we were trying to do was bring that level of scholarship, that good scholarship, out of the ivory tower in a way that's both reasonable to do for the people in the ivory tower, right? That have all these other responsibilities, but also palatable to people that aren't specialists in the field, right? And so the way that we decided to do it was to form the HAPS Scholarship. And the basic premise is that PhD students who are doing this good research in the field, they need money because they have to do research projects all the time. And they have to travel and they have to eat. And so what we wanted to do was provide them the opportunity to compete for a scholarship. Each scholarship is worth $2,000. And they would come on and pitch their research project to you, the audience. And then you, the patrons,
the donors, everyone who's contributed money,
got a vote. And so the people that were competing had to make their research interesting and palatable.
Which is actually really difficult.
It really
and I think
is.
they all did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. And but then that brings that good research to you, but it gives them an opportunity to have funding for the summer. So the people that win the scholarship take that money, go do their research project, and they're required to come back after the research project is completed and give you, the viewers, a presentation of what they found out. And so it exposes you to young scholars that are going to be big names in the field. We've got people that came on from Harvard, Berkeley, Durham, Freie Universität. Where else do people come from? Anyway, lots of big name schools. And
Brown.
Yep, Brown.
Cornell.
Yep, Cornell. So,
and international students, which was really, really awesome. Like Josh said, we had someone from Durham. We also had a PhD student from Spain and one from Brazil, which was...
And not to leave
Germany as well.
Yeah, I know I missed some of the people. My memory's not that great, so I apologize. But at any rate, what that means is that you get to be exposed not only to the young scholars, but you also get to be exposed to the latest scholarship in the field. And all of these things I really think are going to build a really solid connection between people in the universities, people that do this for a living, and people that aren't specialists in the field, but that want to know and want to have good scholarship.
Yes.
So okay.
So we interviewed everyone. It was really cool. We had 17 applicants, which is like more than we were anticipating. 3 of those dropped out for various reasons. Mainly, they got fully funded from elsewhere and didn't feel comfortable taking money from us, which we really appreciate. So we ended up interviewing like 14 people, I think, from like all different universities, but all different sub-disciplines as well. So we had Assyriologists, archaeologists, I think there was an anthropologist in there, Hebrew Bible scholars, there was a New Testament scholar as well. It was really fascinating, and most of them were people working on things that I'd never considered. So even just listening to the interviews was very educational. And they did a great job. And as Josh said, this past week, everyone who donated has been given the chance to vote on who they think should be funded. So we initially set out to fund one student for $2,000. To date, let me get the numbers up, we have raised, in the bank, we have $4,425.31, which means we can completely fund 2 students. And we're like a quarter of the way toward being able to fund the third. So we're going to take a little bit of a risk. And we're going to just offer 3 people the scholarship. Which means if you're in our Patreon, please, for the love of God, don't back out. At least not until August when we pay these lovely people. So that, I mean, I say that half in jest. That's our decision. And if we have a shortfall, we'll do some more fundraising. We'll see if we can cover it ourselves. But it's really, really exciting. And I'm going to tell you who got the scholarships. Ha 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 ha. So the... first student that is going to be funded is Sarah Moore, who is an Assyriologist from Brown University. She is working on the 3D scanning of cuneiform tablets, which is an amazingly important thing to be doing. If you've watched many of our videos, you'll know that we have a ridiculous amount of cuneiform still untranslated, and one of the problems is they're very difficult to get to, and translating via photographs is really, really difficult. So having good quality 3D scans online that you can either view or print will be immensely helpful for scholarship, but also very helpful for people who just, want to be able to handle a cuneiform object and can't because they're all in museums. This will mean that things like libraries and museums can print their own copies and let their customers and the people who use their services actually come in and see what these things are. So, student number 1, Sarah Moore. Student number 2 is Melina Seabrook. I believe she's from Harvard. She's an archaeologist, and she was going to go on a course that would teach her how to sample stable isotopes. I don't know what that means. I very much look forward to her telling me in August when we have her back on for the interview.
I can't believe you don't know what a stable isotope is.
It's to do with dating of archaeological evidence. I think animal bones, because she talked a lot about animal bones.
There are certain isotopes that are out of balance, and you have to stabilize them. So whatever.
So that's student number 2, Melina Seabrook.
What?
Student number 3 is Jenna Kemp, and she was a Hebrew Bible student. I think from Berkeley. She was very interesting, and she was looking at the transmission of the Hebrew Bible, I believe. I really should have read through all of the application overviews before I came on, but I forgot, mainly because I was playing Mario Party with my baby, who can't actually play but really likes chewing on the controllers, so it's a win-win situation. Yes, so Jenna Kemp was a really interesting interviewee. I didn't understand most of it, but apparently enough people either understood or found it interesting that they wanted her to get funded. So we have our 3 winners.
And I think that's something that's really important to note. Because we both contributed as well financially, we also got a vote, but we just got one. We got the same as everybody else. So you guys picked these winners, which I don't know. It's got to feel good. To be able to really, this is the reality here. You, the viewers, the voters, the people that are contributing, you are having a very direct and real impact upon getting good scholarship out there. I mean, it's just really cool, and we're really happy that we can be a small part of that.
And I've just been catching up on the side chat. We've had several people say that either they've increased their Patreon pledge or they will be sending money in the next couple of weeks, which we really, really appreciate.
Thank you
very much. And I didn't say earlier, but if you're watching this after August, so we give 80% of the money to the students in June, so they have money to carry out their research. The final 20% we'll give after they come back, after the end of the summer. Mainly it's kind of a weird insurance policy on our part to make sure that people do actually follow through with their obligations.
It's retainage. Look, let's just say it.
And come back and give their report and tell us how they did, what they enjoyed. So that's how it works, which means we don't need the total amount until August. So we have a few months to raise the final. I think it's going to end up being about $1,000. And again, if the Patreon pledges stay relatively consistent, I think we need just under $400 a month. We'll make it, no problem. But if you're watching this after August, or if we end up with more money than the $6,000 we need for this year, we will be carrying it over into HAPS 2020. We are making this an annual thing. Someone asked on Twitter. Yes, we'll be doing this for as long as people are willing to pay money towards it.
And the other really cool thing about this is, even for the people that competed but didn't win, it's still tremendous, in my opinion, tremendously valuable. And here's why. Number one, they now have at least some experience pitching their very difficult and complex work to people that are not specialists in the field, and doing so under a little bit of pressure, even though hopefully we didn't give a lot of pressure. But, you're live.
Talking on YouTube is difficult if you've not done it before, and even if you have done it before, it's still difficult. Omega1 is saying that Jenna's topic was about forgetting, and I forgot. Yep, I do remember now. And vegan atheist Coral is saying that they will definitely be donating again. And how about another print? I am planning, yes, we will do a print every year or some kind of incentive. I think it worked quite well this year. Leave everything until Christmas, see where we are, and then have a fundraising drive with some kind of like incentive, a print or a book or something. So Math Magic Pagan just got in and is asking if they missed the winners. You did, but we can run through them again. We have Sarah Moore, who was looking at the 3D scanning of cuneiform tablets. Melina Seabrook, who's going to be going on a course to teach her how to sample stable isotopes. And finally,
which Megan doesn't know what that is.
I don't know what that is. And Jenna Kemp, who's looking at forgetting in the Hebrew Bible. And Brandt is asking who was in fourth place. Actually, once you got down off like the first two, there were a lot of people kind of in the same tier. So we had Jenna, but then there was Michael and Natalia, and then a bunch of people with like 4 and 5 votes each. So, yes. It was very close, actually. The first two were like pretty distinctive, but the others, it was actually quite exciting watching and trying to work out who was going to get the third place. So
and again, you know, I to everybody that actually didn't get a scholarship. Number one, I'm sorry, number one, because I've already said number one, but number two, you know, since this is annual and you can compete again next year, now you're out there, right? And you've had some exposure to the people, and you know, for anybody that went on, that came on and interviewed, we'd love to have you back on. You know, you know, shoot us an email or a tweet or whatever it is that you send. Oh wow!
We have a super chat from LT Galloway. Josh, would you do the honors in Kent Hoven's voice?
Actually, I think that you're giving me that look.
LT Galloway, would you rather have Kent Hoven's voice or my slightly strange, seductive British accent?
Yeah, that was, I feel,
Let
very
us know.
leading.
It was not leading at all.
Would you want it in a really dumb voice or a really awesome voice? Believe me, your seductive voice is far more interesting than my Kent Hoven voice.
LT Galloway will let us know.
He will. That's true. I think. Yeah. Explain those isotopes to us, Dr. Josh. Well, let me tell you. When you have more than one taupe, then you have...
isolated taupes.
Yeah, they have to be isolated, and because you don't want to have two taupes together.
And this right here is a great example of why you should not listen to someone on any subject just because they have a PhD.
I mean, this is by definition, of course, obviously I'm kidding, but the idea of somebody going on a TV show that has a PhD in, like, I don't know, oh wow, people are begging for the seductive voice.
One person.
That, you know, I think that's important. We want to weigh that heavily. But you know, you get a bachelor's degree, right, in sports science, which is fantastic. I'm not trying to knock that, but you don't go.
We're not thinking of anyone in particular when we say that.
You don't then go on an you know, like an archaeological. Going as an archaeological specialist. It's like, come on, people.
Yeah. Vegan atheist Coral, I think this is very important to say because we've said it, but I think it's different hearing it from the viewers. Please, to the people who didn't win, definitely go back on. We want to hear about everyone's work. Yes. And I did actually, when I emailed everybody to let them know whether or not they were selected, I did say we'd love to have you back on. I hope I said that. I remember writing it, but it's possible that I didn't. I think I did. So email us, come back on, talk to us, because everyone enjoyed having you very much. Nick J says, stable isotopes are isotopes that can retain their electronic configuration, as I
Oh, that's right. I remember from when I just saw the...
Do you know what an isotope is?
What's stable mean? It means... Those are isotopes that go where horses go.
Or they don't fall over easily.
I think it's the horses.
The horses one probably.
Those are isotopes that are out in, like, barns.
Oh my God. We're very smart.
I guess we are.
Okay, so that is our HAPS announcement.
High five, everybody. Nice job.
Very exciting. And thank you again, everyone who contributed. I think this has been really valuable, really exciting. And I can't wait to see what everyone does for their summer. And it will be amazing. And then, yes, we'll do the same next year. So
now, announcement-ish number 2. We are currently at, I said to Megan this morning, this stream might have to be the announcements plus the 7,000 celebration, because we're at 6,962 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please go click that subscribe button.
Like everyone's giving you high fives in the chat.
Snizzle my mizzle. Extra salt on the frizzle. Excuse me?
Gosh.
And maybe I hadn't seen that video yet, and I just saw it, and now it's in my head. So we are... I already forgot the number.
962.
Okay. So we are within...
8. No.
A range
8,
of stable
28.
isotopes of 7,000.
Yeah, we're nearly there, which is awesome. We're very excited. Barant is asking, what about the book?
Oh, the Sumerian book? Is that what we're referring to?
Maybe.
Okay, so...
Sure, let's go for it.
Yeah, quick update, and then we're going to do our book club that we haven't done in a long time. And we're going to be reading some cool texts.
We are.
Sargon, King of Battle. What you think?
Yes. Brant is saying face reveal at 7,000. I mean, we could do that. I feel like it would be a bit of an anticlimax because everyone has seen our faces.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yes, but I can put something over Josh's face and then with maybe like some kind of drum roll, dramatically tear it off so you can see his face. We could do that.
Yeah.
If you want. I mean, I don't think it would add a lot, but we can do that. Oh, Heat Shield is being very helpful. We're set 37 isotopes away from 7,000.
I still don't know what an isotope is.
We'll look it up later.
Okay.
Because I can't remember. I feel like I should. Oh, and Yami Mizuki said we're almost a fifth of the way to making Dr. Josh get a tattoo. We are.
All right.
Nearly. I should add that he does have a tattoo already, so we're not like forcing him to do something he's
true.
not already comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Sumerian grammar.
Yes, Sumerian grammar. So, it has been what do you call that? The final rough draft?
Yeah, we've sent proofs out.
Yeah. So there are several Assyriologists right now. Dr. Jeremiah Peterson. I'm blanking on everybody else. Constantopoulos. Gina's got it.
Yeah, Gina has it. Jay Christosimo
Dr. Christosimo has it. Anyway, there are a bunch of Assyriologists.
Dave would like you to rip your shirt off at 7,000. I mean, I'm behind that all the way.
You know, I do remember that you still have a super chat and a seductive voice.
No, because LT Galloway has not said who he
I tell you what, we're going to do it in both.
At the same time?
No. That wouldn't be seductive at all.
Sexy Kent Hovind.
Sexy Kent Hovind. Does that exist?
No.
Okay.
I mean, maybe Mrs. Hovind thinks so, but
Indeed. So I'm gonna do mine first. Lieutenant Galloway for $19.99. Okay. Congrats, Josh and Megan. Keep up the awesome work. Continue to evolve in your pursuits, because that's very important. You can see the trees that are petrified and they go through several layers. And of course, how could you have that if you have millions of years of water?
I've just realised I've been saying LT Galloway, and I know in my head it's Lieutenant.
It could
for
be.
Some reason.
His name could be Lewis Thompson.
Maybe.
Oh, you know what? I scrolled away from it and...
Damn it! I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
Oh, what's over there on your screen? All right, sexy voice.
LT Galloway for $19.99. Congrats, Josh and Megan. Keep up the awesome work. I feel like I'm kind of channeling...
Marilyn Monroe?
No, I don't know who I'm channeling there. It doesn't feel like me anyway.
It's, you know who it is? It's in Hedawana.
There we go.
You can just know she was hot. I don't know how.
Well, she's a priestess and a princess, and I mean...
That makes her hot.
Definitely. Well, she wrote a whole bunch of stuff, probably.
Yeah, that makes
Oh,
me
so
even happier.
Yami Yamizuki is explaining what an isotope is, which I really appreciate because I know I knew this in high school, but it's been a long time since I was in high school. An isotope refers to variants of an element which have the same number of protons in the nucleus but different numbers of neutrons.
So I am no closer to understanding what an isotope is.
But it was nice to be helped.
It was. It was.
I'm
sorry.
LT. Is it? You're gonna have to tell me. Is it LT or lieutenant? It is lieutenant, but he's not an actual lieutenant.
Yes, he is.
Lieutenant Galloway says he wanted both, so we did exactly what was necessary there.
Perfect.
Let me just check up on the chat.
While you do that, I'm going to go get us a cup of coffee and or tea.
Shannon Key would like us to get a new tattoo together. All of us.
Like, should it go from one person to the next?
I mean, it would be a long ass tattoo.
You know,
we could just have a string of cuneiform across the throat, and we should get Paul in on this as well.
No, what we need to do is get that mitzvah stone thing that says, "May God watch over us while we're apart." Have I talked about that before?
Not in my hearing.
Oh,
maybe you have.
It's that verse that a lot of girls.
Oh, the matching necklaces that you get when you're at camp.
That actually mean I hate you and may God watch over you so that you don't try to kill me.
You have told me that,
when we're
but
apart.
they use it as like a sign of eternal friendship.
Read a response, baby.
Nice.
Read a response. I'll be right back.
So yes, he's going to go and get tea. Well, tea for me, coffee for him. So yes, the Sumerian grammar is doing well. We're getting comments back. We're still waiting for a few more people, but then once that has been edited again and I've done a final read through, we will be publishing that ourselves, which I don't know how to do, but we will find out. And as soon as that's available, we will definitely let everyone know. It is pretty cool. I didn't write it, so you know it's going to be decent. And it's basically meant as a companion to Josh's YouTube series. And we did actually have someone, I think Dave in the chat, say that he's been using our Sumerian grammar series, which is awesome. We love it when people do that. So thank you. I'm glad it's being helpful to you. And we also a while ago spoke about doing a colouring book. A digital Hammurabi colouring book, which I think is a really cool idea. It's going to take me a while because doing those illustrations takes a long time. Unfortunately, because I love doing them, but they do take a long time. And actually, I think I have the example. Nope, I moved the file, so it's not going to work. But I did an illustration of one of the Neo-Assyrian palace reliefs, which is Ashurbanipal killing a lion. So I think a whole series of those kinds of illustrations in book format to raise money for HAPS maybe would be awesome. So that is planned. It's going to take a while though, because I do need to graduate sooner rather than later, because I can't be a student forever. Thank God, because I don't think many people would want to be a student forever. It's quite stressful. And on that note, that's why you probably haven't seen as much of me as you might expect to. I am locked in my bedroom normally working on my database or reading or writing something. I will be back after I graduate. Boo. And I don't really have anything else to say. That was everything announcement-wise from me. We are going to read some Legends of Kings from this wonderful book. If you've joined us for a book club before, you'll be familiar with it, Before the Muses. It's an excellent book. It's like huge. It has all of the translated cuneiform myths, legends, literature you might ever want to read. We use it a lot, especially for, well, this is all the Akkadian literature. There isn't any Sumerian in here. If you want Sumerian, you want the website, the electronic corpus of Sumerian literature. Electronic text corpus of Sumerian literature, which is amazing, and we love it, and we use that a lot also. I'm running out of things to say, you might have noticed. I could sing. I don't think anyone really wants that. I don't want that. Oh, Nick, but aren't we always learning there for a student? I agree, there is nothing wrong with being in a continual state of learning. I think being, like, actually attending university and that being your main occupation for your whole life, I think I would probably get frustrated a little bit, Because at the moment, if I'm not working on my dissertation, I feel very guilty. And I have a lot of other things that require my time and attention, namely 3 children. So I would like to graduate and be able to focus on the children and focus on digital Hammurabi and actually like making this channel the best it can be. And making our kids channel, because we are still planning a kids channel which will be animated and amazing. But I need to find an animator first before we do that, and then I have to set up HAPS as an actual non-profit, which involves like finding an accountant and finding board members. We kind of know who we want to invite onto the board, but like I have to be able to spend time getting all of that stuff legally set up properly. So
your tea is getting stepped.
my tea is stepping. Excellent. And Tim Smith says, good luck on your dissertation. Thank you very much.
It is really awesome. I mean,
when it's done, maybe. I was told before I started my dissertation, or before I even started the PhD, that a PhD is much less to do with intelligence and far more to do with stamina and perseverance. And I don't think I've ever heard a truer thing about education in my whole entire life.
I think you have to have a touch of masochism as well.
That too. It does help. It makes it a lot easier.
I'm going to go get your tea.
Thank you. The green screen is working well. Thank you, Sam. We've got like we're in a whole room that isn't also taken up with a bed and a dresser and various other things. We've actually got space to set up our lights properly, so it's lit properly and it looks pretty cool. Like I don't have random bits of background coming through my skin, which is nice. Because while I do like our lovely background, the Ishtar Gate, I don't want it here so much when this is supposed to be skin. It looks a little interesting. Although Oliver's helmet is still see-through. And if he wakes up, I'll bring him through and you'll see he still has his magic invisible helmet.
Here is hot tea, because that's what you are. A hot tea.
Oh, I love you. Nick says, will my dissertation be available to be read by the general public? It will. If people are interested in it, it will definitely be available. Most of it is a huge database that I need to work out how to get online.
Not most of it.
Well, like all the data is in a massive database. But no, the dissertation itself will be available to be read. Hopefully it will be interesting and make sense. I don't know. And Shannon says her bestie has been finishing her biology PhD for 5 years now. Yeah, it's insane. And the PhD Josh and I did, you have to do 3 years of classes before you're even allowed to touch a dissertation. So I'm in year 7 now.
I finished in 8, which was pretty quick.
Yes, I'm very jealous.
Thank you, Casey Atheist Randy. He says that my hot tea thing was smooth.
It was.
Well, all right, so we've talked about the HAPS scholarship. We have flirted a bit.
Yep.
There was something else we talked about.
The Sumerian grammar book, the colouring book.
This almost 7,000 subscribers.
Almost 7,000 subscribers.
And now it is time, and we will mark this for those watching.
Yes, so you don't have to run through all of our ramblings.
We should mark it at, I don't know how long we've been going.
It won't tell me. No. Actually, it will if we go on to here. Sorry, everybody. You're all very patient.
Indeed. 35, so around 35
minutes.
That's when we're going to start the book club.
Hooray!
So, we planned up until about 1:45. We were going to read Nergal and Ereshkigal.
Yep, because we had a request.
Then we remembered that we'd already read it, apparently.
So if you're looking for Nergal and Ereshkigal, I'll put a link in the description, but it was in our Halloween live stream that we did to raise money for Christina Blackfeather's medical bills. So it's in there.
And then we were going to read Aaron Isham.
Mm-hmm. And then we realised we did that as well, I think. I'm not sure where that is, but I'll try and find it.
I know I summarized it at one point.
Oh, maybe it's just the summary.
Maybe it's just the summary.
Maybe.
Well, we then landed on reading some texts about battle, which are rare in Mesopotamian literary texts. So, just kidding.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of fighting that goes on.
We can do that. Sorry. We're just playing around with the screen so that we can see both the side chat and the...
Yep.
So...
Hang on.
What?
Yamio Mizuki.
Oh.
Before we start the book club, when do we get part 2 of the biblical law string from last Sunday?
That's a good question. I can do that...
Tomorrow?
Yeah. Or I can do it today.
This weekend, definitely.
Yeah, I'll do it this weekend. Good question. It's actually interesting because I've had one video response. I don't know, which was interesting for those of you that have been keeping up with the whole slavery debate thing that's been going on with me and Skylar and
Other people.
We
should just stop talking about them because they're not worth your time.
One of them gave me a response, which was cute. It was cute.
Excellent.
Sorry. That sounds condescending. I don't mean it, but
He's a jerk.
he was kind of being
He's
jerky.
a jerk. You can be condescending.
It just wasn't...
Well, do you remember before when we were talking about the difficulties of finding good scholarship on YouTube?
There you go. Good point. Yep.
Case in point.
Case and point. C and P.
Indeed.
Okay.
What are we reading today?
Sargon, king of Batula.
I think it's pronounced battle.
Yeah.
King of battle.
King of battle. So if you have I was going to say Sargon's Before the Muses, but it's
Benjamin Foster.
Foster's Before the Muses. It is on page 338, and yep, they know who we're talking about. So yeah, of course they do. I don't know why I wouldn't think that. Okay, so Sargon, King of Battle. So we're going to read that, and then we're going to read the Cuthian legend. And basically, these are two stories that I don't know. I was thinking about, is there a way that we can tie in the HAPS scholarship and winning with some Akkadian literature? And we did, like conquering. But so the winners conquered. I don't know. That's lame. But the Cuthian legend is actually a really interesting story because you're going to see in Sargon, King of Battle, it's very stereotypical. Sargon goes out and he conquers and he's the victor, and it makes sense, right? It's what you would expect. But then in the Cuthian legend, there's a bit of a twist that you don't expect, so I won't spoil it. But it's good that we're juxtaposing these two.
Oh, before we start, we have a question. Theo Mackey, would you guys agree that one piece of literature that should be lost to history is the book lists, so we can stop being so frustrated on how much more is lost?
The book lists?
I don't know what they are.
Oh, you're talking about the catalogs?
Oh, probably.
Yeah. We've got a lot.
I mean, we're really lucky in Mesopotamia. We have a hell of a lot surviving. It is frustrating, but on the other hand, it's more information that is useful. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, the nice thing about the catalogs is they can be used, and you know what? I'm going to do a stream at some point on Scribal Education. Because my advisor, Dr. Paul Del Nero, used, of course, and Dr. Steve Tinney did as well, amongst others that have done this, Miguel Seville. A lot of people have done this, actually. But they use these catalogs. That basically what they are tablets that have the incipit, the first line of a particular text, and they have them listed out one right after the other. So it would be like, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, and then the next line it would say, call me Ishmael, and then, I don't know. Okay, right, that's good enough. I don't know if anybody...
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Tale of Two Cities, and then Moby Dick. I'm trying to think of how Pride and Prejudice starts. I don't remember the first line.
I don't know.
Oh, Mr. Bennet.
Probably that.
But anyway, so it lists them out, and we have several of these tablets, and they've been able to utilize those catalogs, that's what we call them, to try to argue for a type of scribal curriculum that was used. It's actually really interesting, but I'll do a stream on that because that'll be good.
And Tim is making asking a great question. Aren't there two Sargons? There are two Sargons. There is this gentleman, Sargon the Great, who is the first Sargon, and Sargon the Second. It's the second. The second is several centuries later.
He probably didn't call himself.
He probably didn't call himself Sargon the Second.
He called himself Sargon Deuce.
Maybe. So this is the first Sargon. Although this a later. This is, so the text talks about a king from the Akkadian period, but this is a Middle Babylonian tablet. And
yeah,
what are the dates though?
For the Middle Babylonian tablet? Be like second half of the second millennium.
There we go. I'm not good with dates.
No, it's good.
I should, but I'm not.
Frustrating to keep that stuff all in your head. So, like many of these stories, we have it in duplicate. So we have a Middle Babylonian version, and duplicate is the wrong word, but we have different versions of the text, and we have manuscripts from... Manuscript is not the right word. We have...
different copies.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're manuscripts. What would an original be? I don't... But they are the clay tablet that the guy put the stylus in. Okay, anyway. So the Middle Babylonian version, I figure we could probably just read the...
Yeah, the latest Syrian isn't very... No, there's... The Middle Babylonian is the most complete.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I'm thinking
the latest Syrian is like...
The Cuthian legend is the one that's... Yeah.
Okay. So, if you've not joined us for a book club before, almost nothing that we read is complete because we work with ancient texts and unfortunately they don't normally survive in complete forms. So if we pause or if there's a massive break, we'll tell you because we don't want to give the... false impression that what we're reading is in any way whole.
But it's a whole lot more complete than any biblical source. And the reason is because it's original.
Clay. Also that.
It comes from the period in which it was...
Yes.
I was going to say it comes from the period in which it was written, which doesn't. Of course, they all do, so I guess. But it's cooler. Much cooler. So if you want to get into a field in the ancient Near East... Hebrew Bible's pretty cool, but all the cool kids become Assyriologists. So,
or those who are just more masochistic.
Oh, yeah.
Probably that. Okay, do you want to start or shall I?
Sure.
Good. So there is a break to start with, probably only a word or two. So Ishtar to the bulls of the city Agade, mighty one in battle, king of... Sargon speaks to his warriors. Sargon girds his loins with his fierce weapons. In the palace, Sargon made ready to speak. He gives this speech to his warriors. O my warriors, the land of Karnesh, which is in Turkey, thinks of war, though I made it submit. We have another break.
But this sort of sets up the whole... This sort of sets up the whole story. So Sargon, there's a lot of interaction, lots of interactions between... northern Mesopotamia, so the land that would be considered around Ashur, Assyria. A lot of interactions from Ashur with Turkey, this area called Karnesh, this city called Karnesh. And of course, Megan is really well versed in this. That was her original dissertation topic, was to write on the Karnesh and the letters and economic texts and things that were up there. But a lot of trade that went on between these. So Sargon is over in Mesopotamia, and he's saying, hey, I went and conquered up there in Turkey, and now the king that's up there is rebelling, even though I made him submit before. This is something that happens all the time.
Mesopotamian kings conquer people, and then they go home again, and then the people they conquered don't pay their taxes, or they say, screw you. And then they have to go and be reconquered again.
And so eventually, in the first millennium, you'll see that the Assyrian kings begin to make it a policy to campaign to the west every year. Every year they go over there, and they essentially knock on the gate and say, "See my army?
Remember us? Where is my tax?" So, there's a broken bit, but the champion of Sargon comes out and he says, "It is a mission of 7 leagues. When will we sit on chairs, rest for a while, when our arms have given out and our knees exhausted from traversing the road?" The messenger from the merchants. So this isn't just a military campaign. It looks like the merchants have been complaining about something. Probably...
Sorry, the Omaki's comment.
Oh, yes. So the merchants have probably been complaining that I know their tariffs are too high, or they're not being given favourable trade deals. So the messenger from the merchants made ready to speak and said, "O Zababa, the campaigner who makes straight the way and spies out all the regions of the earth. O Lord of all dioceses, who something from sunrise to sunset. The merchants vomit up what is in their stomachs, mixed with bile, throwing up all over the ground.
Ew.
What would a Kishite pluck out of Agade? We swore allegiance to Sargon, king of the universe. We have come down to him that we may meet strength, for we are no warriors."
So, I want to point something out here because I'm putting a video out right now, and another one's on its heels, and I talk a bit about this reading English translations and reading into the English words more than was what was intended by the original text. So the word universe here, in the same way, I don't think anybody would argue that the writer here is considering, time, space, and matter.
Yeah.
Right? Or
he's just
light
talking about
years
the whole
away.
known world.
That's exactly right. So nobody has a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, then when you go to the biblical text, you have in Genesis 1, in the beginning, God creates the heavens and the earth. And people say, well, sometimes that's translated universe. And they say, time, space, and matter. It's like, well, no. Taint. Okay, sorry.
So that's the messenger of the merchants. What would a Kishite pluck out of Agade? We swore allegiance to Sargon, king of the universe. We have come down to him that we may meet strength, for we are no warriors. Charge us the costs of the journey, O king. Let the king be responsible for those who stand in battle with him. Let the warriors of Sargon gold. Let those great bulls have silver to spend. How shall we go about our affairs when outrages are being committed? Where your god Zababa is out of action? So it appears here that the merchants are going to, they're sponsoring almost this military expedition. I should say that this should probably not be taken as historical fact, but it's a very interesting concept. They're asking for Sargon to go and help them because they are being treated poorly in Karnesh. So they're saying, we'll pay, just go, do your soldierly thing because we can't do it.
And of course it makes sense, right? Because you think, if you're thinking about the interactions between Karnesh and Mesopotamia, so just to sort of briefly give you an idea, we've done streams on this before, but in Mesopotamia, in Asher in particular, they would load up tin and textiles, tin from the east and the Zagros Mountains in Afghanistan, I guess. Mm-hmm. Can't remember exactly where it comes from, but nonetheless, it comes from the east. And then textiles from Mesopotamia that were made there, and they would load them up on pack animals, donkeys, whatever, and they would make a long trip northwest up to Anatolia, up to Anatolia, to Karnesh, to the city of Karnesh, which they called a karam, a port, which was just a city, but it was like a okay.
Well, the karam was a part of the city.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, but it's the karam itself means port.
Yeah.
So, what happened initially is they would just bring a caravan up there and they'd sell everything, right? And then they get a bunch of silver, right?
Yeah.
They get a bunch of silver and then they take it back home. But then it became clear that the market was so big up there for tin and textiles that they left people up there, and they would bring the tin and textiles up, drop it off. It was more complex than this, and there were people there that had, a network established, and they would sell all the stuff so that the person transporting it had a separate job than the person selling it, and that place was called the port, right? It was called the karam. And so, but it was a really big deal, right? Really big deal.
So you have merchants going up there and settling, marrying local women, having children, often while still maintaining a family and a wife in their hometown of Assur.
And so you can imagine then if the king in Kanish is rebelling against Sargon, he's causing problems for the merchants, he's causing problems for that trade, which is, hurting the merchants in under Sargon's care. So makes sense.
I should say that this text is not from that same time period, and the merchants that we're talking about came from Assur, which is a different city to the one that Sargon ruled. But it shows this text is illustrating the relationship that we know existed between Anatolia and Mesopotamia.
Also, from Kanish, we have exactly one literary text, and it is a story about Sargon. So it's been called Sargon, Lord of Lies. It's been called Sargon.
I can't remember. Lord of Lies is the one.
That's the only one I remember. But anyway.
Okay, so the merchants are asking, please do something, we will pay you. The merchants assembled. They were entering the palace. After the merchants entered, the warriors would not receive them. Sargon made ready to speak. The king of battle said, that fabled city, Baruch-Handa, I will see its... What is its direction? Which is its mountain? What is its road? Which? How should one go? The road that you wish to travel is a most difficult path, grievous to go. The road to Baruch-Handa that you want to go, the road that I worry about, is a mission of 7 leagues. And the following lines are all broken at the beginning. The massive mountains, where the boulders are lapis, the foothills are gold. Apricot tree, fig tree, boxwood sycamore, evergreen trees with 7 cones. Where the soldiers fought, the passage to its summit is 7 leagues long. The brambles, for 7 leagues in all. The trees, boxhorns, the region of thorny growth. The trees, 60 cubits high, is 7 leagues more. So what is being described here is kind of a semi-mythological location. Maybe not mythological, but not entirely real. The boulders are made of lapis lazuli. The mountains that they're climbing up are made of gold. And there's all of this... all of these trees, which would have been quite exotic to a Mesopotamian audience. Mesopotamia is not exactly rich in tree life. It's something you see in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh and Enkidu go off to the cedar forest, cedar being a very exotic, expensive wood. So all of these different kinds of trees being described here would have made the whole setting seem semi-realistic, like dreamlike maybe, definitely very exotic and nothing that people would really be familiar with. So we have a bit of a gap and someone called Nor Dagal starts speaking.
Hang on 1 second.
Josh's.
Because I wanted to put that 7 leagues in perspective. So I'm looking at the Epic of Gilgamesh. And I wanted to see, I can't remember precisely how far they traveled each day.
Oh, sorry. Our computer is now resting on my sewing machine table, which has a cast iron, I want to say pulley, but pulley isn't the right word, fittings underneath it that would have run an old-fashioned like treadle sewing machine, and I'm kicking it with my foot and it's making a lovely clunking noise, which Josh has suggested is possibly not a great idea when you are doing a live stream on YouTube.
It does sound awesome, but...
Oh, does it? So the next section is from the other half of this conflict. It's from the point of view of the ruler of the Turkish city that the Sargon is planning on invading.
Tell you what, I'll keep looking.
Okay.
And
Nor Dagal made ready to speak, said to his warriors, Sargon does not yet come. Riverbank and high water will surely prevent him. There is the massive mountain. The reed thicket will surely make a grove, and the woods hung about with tangles. His warriors answered him. To Nor Dagal they said, which are the kings, past or future? Which king is he who could come here to see our lands? So you can see they're very, very confident that Sargon's not going to make it. They're perfectly safe where they are. The natural surroundings will protect them.
It's one of the coolest parts of the story.
It is, because the next line is, Nor Dagal had not finished speaking when Sargon dug into his city. It's like me saying, oh no, don't worry. Don't worry. They're not going to come. And then whoever it is knocks at the door.
It's solid as a rock. Boom. Sorry.
He widened the gate of the nobles 2 field lengths. He threw it down, he slashed through the top of its ramparts. He smote the most outstanding of the general's men. Sargon set up his throne in front of the city gate. Sargon made ready to speak, saying to his warriors these words, "Now then, Nor-Dagal, favoured of Enlil, let them bring him in. Let me see him submit." So not only has Sargon reached Nor-Dagal and the city, which they were pretty sure he wouldn't make it to, he has broken down the gates, seemingly quite easily. He set up his throne in front of the city, and he's captured the ruler.
So if you, just to put this in perspective, 7 leagues. Man, it's 7 leagues away. It's so far. Each day, the text in Gilgamesh says, at 20 leagues, they broke bread. At 30 leagues, they pitched camp. 50 leagues they traveled in the course of a day. So...
That's mythological.
Yeah. Crazy mythological.
Yeah. I mean, more mythological than this one.
Yeah, and this is, 7 leagues is a big deal. So, anyway, I just wanted to put that in perspective.
With the gem-studded crown on his head and Lapis footstool at his feet, with 55 attendants sat before him, who, like him, was seated on thrones of gold, while the king sat on a throne like a god. Who is so exalted as a king? Nor-Dagal made to sit before Sargon. Sargon made ready to speak, saying to Nor-Dagal, "Come, Nor-Dagal, favoured of Enlil, you said, Sargon will not come as far as we are. Riverbank and high water will surely prevent him. The massive mountain will surely make a reed thicket. Forest it will surely produce a grove, and a wood of tangles." Nor-Dagal made ready to speak, saying to Sargon, "My lord, no doubt it was your god who showed you the way and brought your soldiers across. Zababa, the hero of Euphrates land. What lands could rival Agade? What king could rival you? You have no adversary. Their opponent is. Your opponents are terrified and left paralyzed with fear. Send them back, city, fields, and lea, the Lord to be your ally in charge of it. We have," there's a break, "to his place and come around to it. Its fruit let him render, apricot, fig, medlar, grape, pistachio, olive, pomegranate. Never need we come around to it again. Let him render its fruit. May the city bear an obligation. May I fetch from it sweet fruit. In going the distance and staying there, whoever followed Sargon? When he withdrew from the city, 3 years in the city he had stayed."
So, a couple of things I just wanted to draw to everybody's attention, and I'm sure you saw that, but it's generally, or at least it's common enough in these stories to not totally put down or to cast in a bad light the opposing ruler, the ruler that you're fighting. And of course you want to do that because you wouldn't want to say, when you're talking about, if you're getting ready to go into a boxing match, right, you wouldn't want to say, "Oh yeah, he's so scrawny and wimpy." But
He's easy to beat.
He's easy to beat. You'd want to talk about how he's actually a worthy opponent, right? So, favored of Enlil, is, in other words, the reality was it was extraordinarily difficult to get to this guy, and he is well protected, and he does have the favor of the gods, and so, at any rate, I just think that's important to point out.
It proves Sargon's might.
Yeah.
This isn't some pushover that anyone could conquer. This is incredibly difficult. But Sargon managed it with relative ease.
I mean, you could beat him, but
I could, but
not just anybody.
I'm the dragon, so.
Come on, somebody. All right. That was
Sargon, Lord of Battle.
So, now the Cuthian legend.
Yep.
How long have we been going? Right
An
at
hour.
an hour.
Yep.
Cool. If you want, I'll read and you can look at the live chat.
Yep.
If people have. So I will read. I want to read Foster's little paragraph here about the Cuthian legend. The Cuthian legend of Naram Sin is a pseudonymous. I always mispronounce.
Pseudo-epigraphical.
Yeah, but it's pseudonymous.
Pseudonymous. I can't pronounce that anyway.
Pseudonymous is how I have always said it. Poetic narrative. You say it every day, right? So it just becomes difficult. Pseudonymous. Pseudonymous, maybe. Pseudonymous. I probably could have
Neither
just
of us can read is what we're getting from this particular
I
live stream.
like things. Okay. Poetic narrative in which Naram Sin, grandson of Sargon of Akkad, relates how a supernatural host devastated his armies and land. While the story is based on a series of battles Naram Sin of Akkad fought against coalitions of foreign and Mesopotamian enemies, the events are fictionalized and presented as a divine judgment against Naram Sin, an arrogant and impetuous king who fails to heed unfavorable omens. Cuthian refers to the city of Cutha in northern Babylonia, where, according to the late version of the poem, Naram Sin left this account inscribed on a stela. So, and we may read, I'll see, yeah, we'll read the latest version.
It is the most complete. And I really like how it starts, because it starts not quite in the same way as Gilgamesh, but it has a similar theme at the beginning.
Yeah, and this is something that's it's a motif that's really important to pick up on when you read the text, because well, you'll see it. We've talked about it with Gilgamesh before. So, open the foundation box and read well the stela that I, Naram Sin, son of Sargon, have written for all time.
So foundation boxes were
FBs.
FBs were clay boxes made of bricks that were buried underneath palaces and temples mainly. There might be foundation boxes elsewhere, but I don't know. And they contained inscriptions, which is what I work on, which is why I like foundation boxes. They contained inscribed objects, tablets, usually made of metal or stone, or plates with these little figurines through them, or things called canophores, which are little, again, figurines whose bottom halves are shaped like nails. So you've got a nail and then like a person on the top. Inscribed and uninscribed. Those that are inscribed usually tell details of how the king built the temple, or a notable event that happened during the reign of that king. So this whole text is being presented as one of those royal inscriptions. It kind of gives it an
unstable isotope,
more authoritative feeling, even though it's clearly not a royal inscription, because it's literary and it's far, far too long to be written on a foundation tablet. But it's just nice that there's that association.
So, the Kishite, that was a really good explanation, by the way.
Thank you.
The Kishite ruled the land, then passed away. Maes-ki-ag, let's see, I'm trying to think of Maes-ki-ang-tu, Asher. So Maes-ki-ang Gasher ruled the land, then passed away. Enmerkar became ruler of the land. When the years passed, when the days went by, the gods' intentions toward the land changed. A host arose and rode against the land. Now, this is a theme that shows up a lot in Mesopotamian literature. You see the gods making decisions about authority that is going to change hands, rulership that's going to change hands, or, of course, things like a flood. Just these massive decisions are made by the gods and then carried out. Sometimes they seem fair, sometimes they seem capricious. It just depends. And so if you read something like the Sumerian king list, for example, you'll see that kingship comes down from on high and is placed in one city, and it stays there for a while, and then it is taken up and taken over to another city. And you see in some of the city laments where that rulership that kingship passes, and the gods say, the lament over Sumer and Or, kingship doesn't stay in one place; it moves on. It doesn't stay here permanently. So here's a decision that's being made by the gods after different kings have arisen and died, and now this horde, this host is arising by the gods' will. So Enmerkar inquired of the great gods, Ishtar, Ilaba, Zababa, Anunitum, Shulat, Hanish, Shamash the warrior. He summoned and charged the diviners. 7 extispices on 7 lambs he made. He set up holy reed altars. The diviners spoke to him thus. And then it's broken, which kind of sucks.
But they're describing what they see in the extispices,
That's
which
right.
are sheep's livers.
Mm-hmm. They probably didn't smell that great.
Probably not.
Your corpse in the earth. Scarcely had the great gods spoken thus, through the extispice, through the omens, Enmerkar's corpse
Did something.
Shamash imposed a harsh judgment on him. The judgment on him, the decision he made on his ghost, the ghosts of his children, the ghosts of his family, the ghosts of his descendants, the judgment of Shamash the warrior, the Lord of above and below, the Lord of the Anuna gods, Lord of the ghosts of the dead, was that they would drink muddy water and drink no clear water in the netherworld. Enmerkar, whose wisdom and weaponry captured, defeated, and slew that host, did not write upon a stela, so that I could not spare myself his ordeal. So, nor did he publish his inscription, so I could not bless him. So this is going to be sort of the main theme here, that if you're a good king, you write down your experiences, you write down your wisdom, you write down your advice, and you put it in a foundation deposit so a later king can come by, can dig it up, and read and understand how to act properly.
And we do actually find, because Mesopotamian, especially temples, were built on the foundations of the previous temples in the same form for hundreds and hundreds of years. You do have kings, when they dig out the foundations to rebuild the temples, finding these inscriptions left by previous kings, reading them, but then putting them back in the new foundations with a new inscription, which I think is really, really cool.
So, troops with bodies of cave birds, humans with raven faces, did the great gods create. Their city was in the earth the gods made. Tiamat suckled them. If you guys remember who Tiamat is.
Sea monster
From
the
Enuma Elish.
Elish.
Baalit Ili, their mother, made them fair. Inside the mountains they grew up, became adults, got their stature. 7 kings they were, allies, glorious in form. 360,000 were their troops. So this is that horde, right? This is the one that's going to be coming against the land. Anu Banini, their father, was king. Their mother, the Queen Malili. Their eldest brother, their vanguard, was named Memanda. Their second brother was named Medudu. Their third brother was named something Pish. Their fourth brother was named Tartadada. Their fifth brother was named Baldada. Their sixth brother was named Ahubandich. Their seventh brother was named Horakidu. I feel like you let me read that section intentionally.
Mm.
You were like, oh, you should read the names.
No, you go for it.
They rode against the silver mountains. A soldier seized them. They smote their thighs to spur their mounts. At the beginning of their incursion, when they invaded Burushandar, the entire region of Burushandar was destroyed. Pukhlu was destroyed. Poranshu was destroyed. Okay, so that's sort of setting the stage for the next section. This mighty horde is coming. And yes, same Enmerkar Yami. Sorry, probably.
No, go for it.
Oh, yeah, same Enmerkar from the Lugalbanda myth. Excuse me, Casey Atheist Randy. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry. Sometimes I catch out of the corner of my eye something going on in the side chat. So thank you for stopping by. Oh, and that's one that you responded to, so that's good. Okay, so do you want to pick up?
Yeah, let me finish.
Okay, I'll keep reading them. So, should I go out against? Is the greatness of that host whose camp is Shubat Enlil? Then they all, inside Subartu, they destroyed the upper Sealands. They invaded Gutium. They destroyed Gutium and invaded Elam. They destroyed Elam and arrived at the seacoast. They killed the people of the crossing place. They were thrown to Dilmun, Magan, Malucha. These are all places. Sorry, so he described places up to the north. Then he described places to the east. Now he's describing places that are to the east and to the south, but you get there through usually sea travel, the Persian Gulf. Whatever was in the midst of the sea, they killed. So there you go. Sorry, you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
17 kings with 90,000 troops came with them to support them. I summoned a soldier and charged him. I give you a lance and a pin. Touch them with the lance, prick them with the pin. If blood comes out, they are humans like us. If no blood comes out, then they are spirits, ill fate, phantoms, evil demons, handiwork of Enlil.
Which would suck.
Would suck. Means he's screwed. The soldier brought back his report to me. I touched them with the lance.
I was like, hey, hang on a second. Can I just get... Okay, cool. Thanks.
I pricked them with the pin, and blood came out. I summoned the diviners and charged them. 7 extispices upon 7 lambs I performed. I set up holy reed altars. I inquired of the great gods Ishtar, Ilaba, Zababa, Anunitum, Shulat, Hanish, Shamash the warrior. The latchkey of the great gods did not give me or my dream spirit permission to go. So he's performing extispicy to ask the gods if it is a good idea, if he has permission to go out to battle. And they said no. And we do have a question. So someone asked, what was the name of the third brother? And it's broken, so it's incomplete in the text. All we have is the last syllable, which is pish. And it is similar to a torn page. It just means that the clay tablet is broken or unreadable for some reason.
It could be pish posh.
I mean, it could be.
Probably not, though, because it doesn't make any sense.
Speaking to myself, thus I said, what lion observed divination? What wolf consulted a dream interpreter? I will go as I like a brigand. I will cast off what belongs to the gods. I will hold fast only to myself. This is a bad idea.
Yes, I mean, if you think about what he's saying, and of course, I'm sure most of you picked it up, but, a lion, this mighty animal that can tear things apart, a wolf that's, very, very strong, and a hunter, predator, they don't do divination, and they're very successful. So what lion does divination? Psh, I'm a lion. I'm a dragon. Bitches.
Yep, I can do what I want. When the first year had come, I sent out 120,000 troops against them. Not one returned alive.
Oh!
When the second year arrived, I sent out 90,000 troops against them. Not one returned alive.
Oh!
When the third year arrived,
this time,
I sent out 60,700 troops against them. Not one returned alive. I was confounded, bewildered, at a loss, anxious, in despair.
Oh.
This is much better.
It's my Homer.
Homer is with us. With Simpsons.
Great idea, boy.
Simpsons sound bites. Speaking to myself, thus I said, What have I left for a reign? I am a king who brings no well-being to his land, a shepherd who brings no well-being to his flock. How shall I place myself that I may bring myself out of this? Fear of lions, death, plague, convulsions, panic, ague, economic collapse, starvation.
It's
ague, sorry. Want, anxiety of every kind came down with them. So, I mean, he's very upset because all of his troops have died, but I have little sympathy because he was told not to go to war.
Before you continue, I see that Richard Madsen is in the stream in the slide chat. I just want to, Richard, I don't know if you have a link to that video that you did with
Nephilim Free.
I'm sorry, just thinking back about it, it's hard not to laugh. If you want to watch a really funny interaction between Richard, who is extraordinarily calm and collected and articulate, as he interacts with somebody who's just so frustrated that he doesn't that Richard doesn't understand his great wisdom and gets really, really flustered. Richard says things over and over again like, I don't know why you said that. I don't know what you mean by that. Yes, I know your position. It's just really, really comical. And anyway, Richard, bravo. I think you did a fantastic job in that. But anyway, if you have that link and you can put it in the side chat so that people can watch it. It is a long debate. You really don't have to watch all of it to appreciate appreciate and get some comic relief from it. Anyway, sorry.
Above in the earth there was a deluge. Below in the netherworld there was an earthquake. Ea, lord of the depths, made ready to speak, said to the gods his brethren, O great gods, you told me to make this host, and the dirt of my fingernails is broken. When New Year of the 4th year arrived, at the prayer to Ea, sage of the great gods, when I offered the holy offerings of New Year, I sought the holy instructions. I summoned the diviners and charged them. 7 extispices upon 7 lambs I performed.
This time.
I set up holy reed altars. I inquired of the great gods, Ishtar, Ilaba, Zababa, Anunitum, Shulat, and Hanish, Shamash the warrior. The diviners spoke to me thus, and they describe the extispicy that they can see. Unfortunately, it's mostly broken. The final bit reads, the battle axe will shed blood, something will be submerged in blood. From their midst 12 troops flew off from me. I went after them in haste and hurry. I overcame those troops. I brought those troops back. Speaking to myself, thus I said, without divination, flesh and entrails, I should not lay a hand on them to kill. I performed an extispicy concerning them. The latchkey of the great gods ordered mercy for them. The shining morning star spoke from heaven thus, Ternarum Sin, son of Sargon, cease, you shall not destroy the pernicious seed. In future days Enlil will raise them up for evil. It awaits the angry heart of Enlil. O city, those troops will be killed. They will burn and besiege dwelling places. O city, they will pour out their blood. The earth will diminish its harvests, the date palms their yield. O city, those troops will die. City against city, house against house will turn. Father to father, brother to brother, man to man, companion to friend. None will tell the truth to each other. People will be taught untruth. Strange things will they learn. This city is hostile. They kill. That hostile city, another hostile city will capture. 10 quarts of barley will cost a mina of silver. There was no strong king to govern in the land. To the great gods I brought...
If I could for a second. So a couple of things to point out here. Oh, go ahead. One, you can hear this sort of futuristic, apocalyptic, prophetic language, right? If you didn't know any better, you might think you were reading something from the Old Testament, right, or from the Book of Revelation or something. So this sort of this genre of text is not unique in the ancient Near East, right? There are a lot of different places where you can see this. Something else to note is this idea of a seed, a remnant being left. In the future, the gods have a design that they're going to utilize them for. You can see this sort of thing really in many different places in the ancient Near East. It's a literary motif. So you can see it, for example, when you think about in the Pentateuch, where these great Canaanite cities, the Nephilim, these giants, these mythological creatures that are in the land to talk about, to show how awesome and extraordinarily difficult and dangerous this place is. It also gives justification for going in and absolutely destroying it because of their wickedness. You read in the book of Enoch, for example, about how they, these Nephilim, these are the offspring of these. It doesn't matter, but they're eating flesh and they're just horrible. But they're these giant, mythological creatures. At any rate, this sort of thing is not. It's not unique here. It's not unique in the biblical text. So it's good to be aware of it, I guess, as you read through. Thank you.
Of course. To the great gods I brought the captives as tribute. I did not lay hand on them to kill. Whoever you may be, governor, prince, or anyone else, whom the gods shall name to exercise kingship, I have made a foundation box for you. I have written you a stela. In Cutha, in the Ameslam, in the cellar of Nergal, I have left it for you. So he's written this stele and he's left it in a temple. Behold this stele. Listen to the wording of this stela. You should not be confounded. You should not be bewildered. You should not be afraid. You should not tremble. Your stance should be firm. You should do your task in your wife's embrace. Make your walls trustworthy. Fill your moats with water. Your coffers, your grain, your silver, your goods and chattels bring into your fortified city. Wrap up your weapons and lean them in a corner.
This is pay close attention here, because this, if you think about genre bending, genre development, this is unexpected. You don't anticipate hearing this in this text.
No.
What you anticipate hearing is, be mighty, go out and kick ass, right?
Just kick ass with the permission of the gods.
That's right. Just have the permission of the gods. So if you get the permission of the gods, which you're going to, go out there and do it. You don't expect to hear what you're going to hear now.
Wrap up your weapons and lean them in a corner. Restrain your valor. Take care of your person. Though he raids your land, go not out against him. Though he drives off your livestock, go not nigh him. Though he eats the flesh of your soldiery, though he murders, be moderate, control yourself. Answer them, yes, my lord. To their wickedness repay kindness. To kindness add gifts and gratifications. Avoid them whenever you can. Let expert scribes compose a stele for you. You who have read my stele and so placed yourself to bring yourself out of an ordeal like mine. You who have blessed me, so may a future one bless you.
So, unexpected, right? Not something that you would, you get to the end of that and you go, huh? So, Sargon, King of Battle, and the Cuthian legend, two very important texts.
And in case it wasn't clear, even though the Cuthian legend is written as if it has been composed or written on behalf of Naram Sin, it probably wasn't. This is a much later composition. This particular copy of it was way later than Naram Sin actually lived.
This is like Kohelet, Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is theoretically supposed to be written by Solomon. Of course, it wasn't. It's a much later text. But this type of writing is it's just very common. So,
and interestingly, Naram Sin is kind of vilified a little bit in later literature as someone who was very impetuous, very much a warmonger. There's some truth to that. He was involved in a lot of conflict, but a lot of that is because he was he ruled something of an empire, and as empires tend to do, people rebelled against him quite a lot, so he had to travel and put down those rebellions. But he's not viewed favourably by later literature.
Well, I think we've been going almost an hour and a half, which...
Oliver's still asleep, which is amazing.
This is crazy.
Expecting to have to leave.
Yeah. But this has been fun. So sort of as a recap, and then we'll, if you have questions, put them in the side chat. But I think we'll probably call it a day. This has been an exciting day.
It has.
So sort of as a recap, we have our three winners of the HAPS Scholarship.
Sarah Moore, Melina Seabrook, and Jenna Kemp. Well done, everybody.
Yeah, really. Everybody did a
fantastic,
fantastic job. It's a lot of fun. And so we look forward to moving forward in that process. And you can look forward to, seeing their presentations.
And I should add, if you would like to help support these students over their summer research projects, we are still taking donations. It's obviously too late for you to vote in the process for this year, but I will save your name and you can vote for HAPS 2020. We have a Patreon, which is Digital Hammurabi patreon.com/Digital Hammurabi. I need a nap. Digital Hammurabi.
But you're so cute.
Thank you. If you feel able and willing to give a monthly donation, fantastic. If you would prefer just to give a one-time donation, also fantastic. We have PayPal. It's, again, digitalhammurabi@gmail.com is just the email we use for our PayPal account.
We need to get another camera or something, because I'm looking at the light just flash at us. Or we need to learn how to do this. One or the other.
Sure. Yami Yamizuki is asking if you can settle on a time or a day for the Part 2 slavery stream.
Okay. How How about 7 o'clock tonight? Does that sound good for everybody? 7 o'clock? Gives me a little time to do a good review.
Go for it.
Cool. And yeah, the Raging Atheist is going to be on tonight on Modern Day Debate. And he's going to be debating Matt Powell. So that should be a lot of fun. So
You shouldn't be telling everyone about your competition.
Oh no, I'll be starting at 7.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
That one starts at 9.
Oh,
so
perfect.
That's why I'm doing
You'll
it. You'll
finish
7.
that, and then you can go
Yeah.
right to Modern Day Debate.
Oh,
and
thank you,
Lieutenant
Lieutenant
Galloway
Galloway.
is putting all of our payment details in the chat. Thank you very much.
And we still have Teespring, right?
Yes. Although I do need to find a different merchandise
So if you want
person.
a cool...
I didn't realize you had a t-shirt.
Yeah, I should have probably thought that one through.
No.
Or
no.
I should have gone... Bow, bow, bow. But... I shouldn't do
Oh,
that
and Richard
ever.
is asking how people make up the taxation. So if we have additional funds left over after the scholarship payments have been sent out, we will be looking into using that to cover some of our tax liability. We need to talk to an accountant, basically. We have not done that yet.
Yeah, but that's a... Thank you for asking that question. Because it was funny when we were asking people to donate. Every time I asked somebody to donate, I thought, well, that dollar is costing us 30 cents. Oh, well, that's okay. It's worth it because, look, this is really important. So obviously we really believe in this. So I think it will pay dividends in the future to everybody involved. So maybe not monetary dividends, but I think this is going to help students get propelled in their careers, and it'll also help all of us keep up with the best scholarship that there is out there, at least in our field, and also ensure that scholarship continues. Mm-hmm. So thank you all very, very much. Well, I think that's it. So we are going to say goodbye. Until next time, thank you all for watching. Mm-hmm. And until next time, you can do the tagline.
Okay. Resist poor scholarship. Always ask, how do you know that?
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.